Hallelujah, Christ is risen.
Christ is risen indeed. Hallelujah.
I've got to tell you, that is my favorite thing to do, because how many of you just look down at your bulletin to check whether or not you missed something? You didn't. It's just a little fun for me. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Easter and Christmas are our biggest festivals and holidays of the church year. Jesus' birth and Jesus' resurrection, these two festivals that anchor everything that we do. And because of that, the stories are the most well-known stories that we have. This morning, we hear the resurrection account from the Gospel of John, beginning with Mary going to the tomb by herself, presumably to anoint the body of Jesus. And she gets the first of several shocks of her life when she sees that the stone blocking the entrance to the tomb has been moved. She gets Peter and the other disciples to come and look at it. And they have this foot race to see who can get there first. It becomes clear that not only has the tomb been opened, but they get word that Jesus is gone, risen from the dead. Peter and the other disciple head home, but Mary isn't ready to leave yet. And I can only imagine the riot of emotions that are going through her. Terror that has turned to amazement, all mixed with this deep grief that I'm sure she's still feeling. Because even if Jesus has risen, Jesus isn't there. She still misses her friend and her teacher. And then she gets asked twice while she's weeping. And I imagine that when it gets asked the second time by this person she thinks is the gardener, she's a little frustrated. Why wouldn't she be weeping? They have taken my Lord, and I don't know where they have laid him. Finally, she recognizes Jesus, carries his message back to the disciples. I have seen the Lord. This is the first post-resurrection testimony. She becomes the apostle to the apostles, sharing the gospel, literally the good news that not only did Christ rise from the dead, as he said he would, but that Christ is currently physically present in the world. God's love carried through death and the depths of hell and is now all around them. And her response to that enduring love is to share what she has seen. Sometimes when we think about the word evangelism, we get really nervous. And we think about something formal or extravagant or pre-planned. We imagine outgoing people with deeply emotional or miraculous stories talking about their experiences. We fear putting ourselves out there just to be rejected, and we worry what other people might think of us. But Mary's testimony reminds us that evangelism can be a lot simpler than that. I have seen the Lord. Take a moment right now and think about a time in the past week, past month, past year, whenever, when you have seen God, when you have seen the Lord. It could be in nature, in an event, in action, a note from a friend, in worship. I don't care. Think about a time when you have seen the Lord at some point in your life. Take a minute, think about it. Nod your head if you have one. All right, now, share it with someone sitting around you. This doesn't have to be spirit. It can be the people that you came to church with, a family or a friend. If you are sitting by yourself, scooch over to whoever is further down in the pew, and you can share it with them. Go. you all get a chance to share? Yes? You did great. How was it? Was it as scary as you thought it might be? I hope not. Now, I am not saying that from here on out, every single one of you needs to be the person who stops strangers in Target to tell them about where they saw Jesus. That is not the goal of this exercise. If you want to, go ahead, but it's not my intention. But I hope that this exercise can remind you that evangelism can be as simple as what you just did. It can be as simple as a chat with a friend or a family member, even if they are already a person of faith. Evangelism just means sharing the good news of God, and that good news is just as important for fellow Christians to hear from time to time than it is for someone else. So a little challenge for you as you go about your lives in the next week. What if even just with your close friends and family, you shared some of those moments when you see God? How might it feel? How might it feel to share what you've seen and experienced? And how might it feel to hear what others see and experience? Do you think it might become more common for you to see them? Like when you buy a new car and then all of a sudden you see that car all the time on the road. Maybe you'll notice it more. Because the resurrection, Christ's resurrection means that yes, the tomb was empty 2,000 years ago, but it means that Christ is alive today. In our world, in our church, in our lives. We just need to keep a lookout for it. So that we can boldly say, I have seen the Lord. Amen.